try to go through the plot a little bit. We've kind of, but
we've really covered it, though. I think that's what's so good about the simplicity of the story.
But let's just some individual things. I mean, the way the movie opens. Again, if you told me this movie opens with a little bitty baby, adorable Steven Spielberg going to see a movie for the first time, you assume he's going to be enchanted and blown away by the power of the movies. And he goes to see Cecil B. DeMille's The Greatest Show on Earth. Have you ever seen this movie, Paul?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. I watched it one time in high school. I started watching it last night and then turned it off because it's kind of boring. But I did note the opening narration, which is done by Cecil B. DeMille. He's like, the circus, the wonder of the circus. But then he says, the circus is a massive machine whose very life depends on discipline, motion, and speed. A mechanized army on wheels that rolls over any obstacle in its path, that meets calamity again and again, but always comes up smiling. It's like, oh, that's movies. That's movies, right? That's what this movies as a job is what this is all leading to. But I love that he sees the movie and he sees the train crash and he's like scared and kind of like overwhelmed by it. It's not like he leaves enchanted by it.
And it's a brain worm, right? It's like First Encounters, the way Richard Dreyfuss and the other characters get this, like, if something's implanted, and I have to just do it. I have to see it. I have to make it. I have to make a replica of this so I can watch it over and over again, and it loses its power, but I also maintain its power.
Yeah. And we, like, our 8-year-old son, he recreates scenes from movies and TV shows all the time. Like, we'll hear him talking in the other room and realize, he's on that scene now.
He's nonverbal and on the spectrum, but he can recite, something he's studied over and over again. It sticks for a reason, and I always find it so fascinating to understand all at once. Like, oh, you're saying that scene because it's it's in his sing-songy kind of.
Right. So I can also relate to that scene because when I was younger, back in the 80s, movies, you had PG or R-rated in the early 80s before the PG-13 came. So you had movies like Gremlins, all these horror movies that were PG rated that we would see way too young,
right?
And would freak us out. To the point where after I saw Gremlins, I would go to bed and put the sheets over my head because I was scared, thinking that a Gremlin was going to come in and get me.
Right.
But at the same time, I was laying there thinking, why did that scare me? Mm-hmm. Why? What? And then I started thinking, what is it about that scene, of how they made that scene, that scared me? And so I was kind of relating to that with Spielberg when he was a kid, showing him laying in bed, thinking about that train scene. But yet he was also thinking, well, wait a minute. Why was it like this? How did they make it scary where it's ingrained in my head now? And I have to go create this. I have to go create this for myself to see how exactly it was made and why it was scary. And that's a part I completely related to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Joe Dante would love to hear you say that about Gremlins. That scared the shit out of you, but also you lay in bed thinking, how did they do that?
Exactly.
But that is like that is the perfect movie. Like, and it's one of the movies that led to the PG-13 rating, is like this beautiful little magical fairy tale that then turns into this horrifying thing. And I remember taking my sister, who I'm a lot older than my sister, when she was 8 years old. We went to the movie theater to see The Amazing Spider-Man in 2012. And she didn't really want to go, but I wanted to see the movie and I had to babysit her. So I was like, it's Spider-Man. What? It's not going to be scary. And she's like, it's scary. And then we watched the movie and it's scary scene after scary scene because suddenly I'm seeing it through an 8-year-old's eyes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's just a PG-13 movie. They're all the same, but no, to a little child, they are terrifying. But Lacey, I love what you said about Close Encounters. Like, he gets it implanted in his head and now has the compulsion to just make it happen in front of him.
Right. He needs to relive it and understand why it's like it's gripped him in such a way. Like, he's not going to feel good until he gets it out.
I know we're kind of going all over the place with this video and probably going off the rails just a little bit, but an example is back in the day when we would watch horror movies like Jason, those type of horror movies. We wanted to know what it was like and how to make those movies. So me and Simon made a horror movie called The Plunging Maniac, where the weapon was toilet plunger.
The plunger, yeah. And now there's a man who can use what he's got.
Right. And so what we did is we shot a scene it looked so cool. We shot a scene, a wide shot, way in the back, and we shut the blinds to our patio door, but we had the light on from above, and so you just see the silhouette in front of it, and then we hold up the plunger, and you can't really make out what it is, but he has something, and it was just a really cool shot, and so that just goes back to what I was saying, is that when we were younger, we saw things that scared us, but at the same time, we want to know how it worked.
Yeah,
why did it scare us?
And you take some power back, which makes sense for someone like Steven. I mean, or for any kid, but like to be the one that makes the scary thing, because we do know that he loved to harass and terrorize his little sisters.
Yeah, all the time.
And we see, like, they're in line for the movies, and he's never seen a movie in a theater before. This is in the 50s.
It's very Batman.
It is Batman, yeah. But his parents, you see the two different approaches to life. His dad's like, here's what a movie is. It's 24 frames per second. Persistence of vision. They play the frames back to back to back. And then his mom's like, movies are little dreams. You never wake up from a dream. And he is both of those people.
He is both of those people. Yeah.
So he gets a camera so that he can film the crash, and he gets the train.
He gets the train on. They show a little glimpse of how he's bummed that he's one of the only Jewish families in at least the neighborhood, and he wants Christmas lights, and they just laugh at him like, "Nah, we're Jewish, stupid," which I thought was so funny. But then they're like 8 days of presents, and then you're thinking he's going to get a camera, but they're all train shaped. So he asked for the train, and then he got the camera, and I just thought that was cute because they showed how the 8 days are good. It's a good build up.
Yeah, you get a whole train set. So he gets his camera. He starts making movies. He's making movies with his sister where he's pulling a tooth out of their mouth and ketchup comes out. And then his mom comes in and sees the big mess she's making. And I like that she, instead of freaking out, she laughs. She's amused.
She's the mom from E.T.
She's the mom from E.T. who laughs when Elliot says penis breath. This mom is she's so much Dee Wallace from E.T. But they have to move. They move to Phoenix because Sammy's dad, Arnold, or is it Al? I get the real life names confused.
I don't know, Matt.
Paul Dano has a job. He's a big computer guy, and his best friend, Seth Rogen, is also a big computer guy, but not as big a computer guy. But they're going to move to Phoenix, and there's no choice. It's all in the betterment of his career. And the mom, you can tell she doesn't want this.
She doesn't want it until she knows the best friend's coming.
Right, but at first he's not coming.
Well, that's not what she said.
And sorry. Okay. But she feels out of control of her life, just like little Sammy does. But they move to Phoenix, and Benny goes with them. And there's a jump cut. Now Sammy is older, and he's played by Gabriel LaBelle, who plays him for the rest of the movie, and he's really, really wonderful.
He's so good.
Yeah, we basically have a little montage of him making movies with his Boy Scout troops. Again, you're like, yep, this is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. He's just all of his movies are in this movie.
Yeah,
which is another thing that Simon and I can relate to, is making all those types of movies when we were younger, and and figuring out how to make movies while we were doing it. And
right, like how do I make that pop for the gun and the flash?
Yeah,
or whatever.
like he was trying to figure out. Okay, yeah, they're shooting their gun, but it's missing something. What's it missing? It's missing that impact, and so he gets the idea of poking holes in the negative in the film to get the flash, and that's the type of stuff that we used to do. Is things like that.
And he goes to the theater and sees The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, a John Ford movie, and then he then makes a movie very similar to that, and he's like at that stage where it's just like, I'm just kind of recreating what I see on screen and figuring out how to do it on my own.
Right, but he knows that these things make him feel something, and he knows what he wants to produce needs to make somebody feel something. So his style of like getting right on top of the person who's about to do their scene and just like kind of getting them in that, okay, so here's what just happened, even though they just did it. Okay, what this means is all your men are dead, right? And so you are in charge, and just coaching out of this actor every moment. It is how he works with kid actors, at least, and I'm sure he can't help himself, he does it with adults. It's just such a nice touch.
I love that kid actor, once he directs him, He's like,
I'm sad.
Yeah, he's never even thought of something like this before.
Because he's not an actor. He's just a friend, right? He's like, so you want me to like act? Yeah, I want you to act.
What's funny is another thing that I could completely relate to is I believe there's one scene where Spielberg is telling a friend how he wants them to act or do the scene, and the friend doesn't get it. He doesn't understand.
That's what I'm talking. Yeah.
And then Spielberg's just like, just do it, okay? Just trust me and do it. I've done the exact same thing where when we were younger, I would tell a friend, we're going to do this, act this way. And my friend's like, I don't want to do that. That's going to be stupid. How's that going to work? I'm like, just trust me. Just do it, okay? Just do it.
It's all the editing, bitch.
And then they do it, and then they see what it looks like after I edit it and make the movie, and they're like, wow, that turned out a lot better than I thought it would.
Because you're holding the whole thing in your head, and they're just seeing it piece by piece.
Exactly.
So you would get your friends to act in your movies. I mean,
this is going to bewilder Matt because Matt didn't have friends.
Well, this is when I watch this movie, I'm like, why are these kids going along with this? Who wants to do this? What else are you going
to do on a weekend? There's no internet.
Was it fun for them? Did they like doing it?
Our friends, it depended on the friend.
Right.
So I have two friends that actually became filmmakers too. And so they were into it because they kind of had the same similar...
Right, they get the end result.
Ideas and vision that we did. Other friends, they just went along with whatever. I guess I'm doing this type of attitude. But they didn't really care about it.
Everyone likes seeing themselves on camera looking interesting, though. So it's like you can not enjoy the ride, but like the end result. So you endure.
I remember a friend of ours, he was basically begging us. He's like, please don't make me look stupid. I don't want to look stupid. Please don't make me look stupid. I'm like, why would I make you look stupid? Because if I make you look stupid, then the movie's going to look stupid.
Right.
I'm like, just trust me. You're going to be fine. And then he was surprised when he saw the end result.
Yep.
Because I've never made films, but I'm a musician. I was a musician since I was 13. I would go record music by myself. I started a band with my friends, but it was like I could involve friends if they got to participate in the band. The part that confuses me is like, how would I ever have gotten people to go just act in a movie where I'm the director?
It's all trust. I'm just now kind of realizing how much you need to trust a director to not use the footage to make you look like an idiot.
That's hard too, because there were times where we would butt heads with friends because they're like, well, why are you shooting it that way? Why don't we shoot it this way? Or I'd have a friend be like, we had a really good idea, cool idea that we probably stole from Spielberg, where we were shooting down upward. And we knew that it would look great on camera and in the movie. It would be a great shot. But he was like, why are you down there doing that?
It's like, shut up, bitch.
Wide shot, and so we would butt heads once in a while with that because they clearly just didn't have the vision, didn't understand it. And that's the same thing with anybody, like you said with your music, friends probably just didn't have the full vision that you did. And so they couldn't understand what you were envisioning to happen.
They don't see the end.
And then when they see the end result, I'm sure majority of the time they were impressed by it.
No, not that part, but everything you said up until then was true.
That's not true, Matt.
Okay, Lacey, you want to explain this sexy camping trip?
I did not know this movie was going to be good. And I didn't know that it was going to treat my brain correctly. So I'm still waiting for the mom to go fully off the fucking rails. So the camping trip was scary for me until...
It is scary.
It is. I mean, you're spending a lot of time with the mom, and you're seeing the full appeal of her and the danger and how much she needs and how little she's actually helping parent. It's all very selective. But he's making a movie the whole time. He's shooting different things. She's a character. But I don't know, I think the dad is talking about another move or something. She's already gone and laid down in a tent. And I think he's talking about once again moving, and she's clearly been drinking or something, and then decides to go out where everyone else is and just start dancing in her nightgown like a ballerina. It's so fucking weird, but people are dazzled by it.
She was no longer the center of attention. So she wanted to be the center of attention. And she also didn't want to hear about another move.
Right.
So she said, okay, I'm going to end this right now and I'm going to go out and do this. And all the attention will be on me.
I think she also was trying to get Bernie to be more energized and to fight more to be part of that move. And that's why she kissed the husband in like the most romantic way ever, in an inappropriate way ever. Right after she dances, she's trying to tell the uncle, like, look, bitch, you want me to move on? I need you to be part of this. I can't do it on my own.
I could twirl right out of this house now.
Right. But like, it just hurts the daughter begging her to stop.
I love that because it's embarrassing.
Of course that's why it hurts.
She's so whimsical and Terrence Malick-y. He's like, oh, the firefly.
Well, you're supposed to be modest, and she's not being modest.
Yeah.
I always thought that it was because she wasn't wearing anything underneath her see-through nightgown.
I think that's it, but I think it is
a silhouette.
It is that, but I think it is also like you don't. We live in a society. You don't behave like this,
right? And you've done this before. I can't trust these whimsy things. Sometimes you put us in danger. Like the older two kids are in a parental role too, because the dad is so busy with work, and the mom is dangerous sometimes, even if she's lovable. So, you can't help when that adult role kicks in. And that's what the sister was doing. I'm trying to protect you from what's clearly different about your brain.
Yeah. And you just be normal.
Right. Right.
Then her mom dies. And because of that, Judd Hirsch, her uncle, comes in, who is a circus man. And he's like, he comes
It's also in film.
Well, yes, but he starts talking to little Sammy about you have art within you. You have the urge. It's going to tear you apart, but it's all that you can ever do. And he's using the circus as the metaphor for movies, just like the beginning of the movie. And this is just a great little, basically 2-scene performance from Judd Hirsch. He got an Oscar nomination for it.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. But it makes sense that he's her uncle. Like, she's a lot. This family's a lot.
Yeah, it is my favorite scene of the whole movie.
Yeah.
The kitchen table one or the bedroom?
Scene between Judd Hirsch and Steven Spielberg talking to each other. It's my favorite scene in the movie, and he's basically saying it's inevitable. The art is going to tear you apart from your family, and it's going to happen. It's inevitable. And he's saying, no, it won't.
Yeah.
But, that is what happens.
Because it's an obsession. Because it's not a healthy attachment, and someone healthily attached to making a movie wouldn't make a good one.
Well, but it's also like, I think that it's to non-artistic people. They're like, but I don't get why it's so important to you.
Well,
in a way that I could never explain to you why it is.
That's why he had to marry an actor, because anyone else would be like his dad, who's just like, I don't get it.
All for a hobby?
Right.
Well, that's a lot of reasons why actors and producers and directors marry people in the industry, because who else is going to understand the passion and the obsession they have? Right.
And the time and the late hours and the weird schedules and the travel and the kissing of people that aren't your spouse.
Yeah. At least that.
Which Spielberg could not handle.
Right.
Because he did not let his wife act in another movie.
Made Kate Capshaw retire.
Yeah.
But at least at that point, it's a job. I mean, all of us do creative things out of the love for it. But, doing giant, like as a musician playing shows, takes a ton of time. It's expensive. There's not actually any reward other than just doing it and playing for the two people you brought with you. So it's kind of hard to explain to people who don't get it why it's important or why it matters. Judd Hirsch, the same year, he played Michelle Williams' father in the movie Showing Up, and then he plays her uncle in this movie. Kind of interesting.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I thought he did a great job.
He's so good.
It was my favorite scene, but also my favorite performance of the movie was Judd Hirsch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need him not in his boxers. That just kept waiting for his wiener to come out. But besides that, it was great.
I'm not imagining that. Sorry.
I don't know how boxers work. I just kept waiting for it to peek out.
That was in the unrated cut, the Too Hot for School, Too Cool for School edition.
Okay.
It's the Fabelmans After Midnight.
The Fabelmans little man.
The dad asks Sammy to edit because she's really sad about her mom dying, and he's like, I can't talk to this woman. She's so sad, and I can't make her feel better. I've tried everything. Feel better, honey. There. It's not working. So can you edit together the footage of our camping trip and make a movie? And he does, and this is when he discovers that his mom is in love with Benny. And he holds this secret deep within his heart until
for weeks at least.
And I love the scene where she like forces him to tell her why he's being so mean to him. I feel so terrible for her at that moment because she has no idea. And she might not even know that like there's actually a thing going on with Benny. That this might be the camera discovering something that she didn't even know was going on.
The real life story makes it all seem a bit, I mean, because there's not a moment like this in real life.
Yeah.
Right.
The real life story was clear. Like it said, like they'd lay down in sleeping bags and she'd hold her husband's hand on one side and Bernie's hand on the other. So it's like she knew, but in this movie, maybe she didn't know or didn't understand. Or know that
it was showing.
Yeah. Or I have a crush on him. I like him a lot. I didn't know that.
But it's under control.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that we look deeply into each other's eyes and stuff.
That's that scene where he's watching the footage and Seth Rogen starts putting his arm around her waist and she
swats it away.
Swats it away. Yeah. So she knew, but she didn't think it was visible. She didn't think other people actually could see it.
So he finally tells his mom. It's a heartbreaking scene. She cries and please don't tell your father. I won't tell. Or no, I don't think she asks him not to tell. He
volunteers it. Yeah,
I won't tell. And Spielberg has said like this whole movie is about the moment when you start seeing your parents as people rather than your parents, and that's what this scene is he was so mad at his mom until suddenly he saw her crying like this, and all of a sudden it became no, I get it. I get it. I will help you.
Yeah.
And they move to Northern California without Benny. And on the way, she is sad and has to pull over just to do some twirling by herself for a little while. And then Sammy comes out to comfort her, and she, they have a little talk, and she says, "I'm still your mom," which is just like Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters when he's making his potato sculpture, and he's like, "Something's wrong with Dad, but I'm still Dad. I'm still Dad." Like all of this stuff has been in Spielberg's brain for 50 years.
Yeah. It's why he was so able to so accurately direct two people essentially having a manic episode for weeks in Close Encounters. He knows what that looks like.
You're right.
To be possessed by a feeling.
So at his new school, he experiences some anti-Semitic bullying, which really did happen to him. And again, the McBride book does a really good job of reporting this and on talking to the people who were involved in it and kind of like hear their denials without understanding that. Because they would talk to people like, we don't have a problem with anti-Semitism.
Unless you're Jewish.
But it was like they were just being mean to him because he was Jewish. But if he wasn't Jewish, they would still be mean to him.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's still a problem. That's still anti-Semitism, but okay. I thought this was so well observed by Spielberg when Sammy is getting when the bullies basically start like accosting him and yelling at him and like you can like see him trying to calculate what to say to like diffuse the situation or just get out of here. And like I felt that all the time when I was in high school, like just being at a loss for words because I can't come up with what the perfect thing to say to get out of this situation.
Yeah. But knowing your words are the only thing you've got.
Yes.
I'm not going to fight this person. I don't know how.
Right. And I was never beaten up. He is, and he's super miserable here. It's different from Phoenix. In Phoenix, they stood out less, but now he has this awareness of himself as a Jewish person. And then the girls become aware of that he's a Jewish person, but this one particular girl, Monica, she's into it.
Because God was Jewish. Or Jesus was.
She loves Jesus, and Jesus was Jewish. Therefore,
but Jesus turns her on.
Yes, it's so great, Monica.
It's also the age that they're at too.
Oh yeah,
they're rebellious. And,
and you're afraid of sinning, so you have to wrap it. It's just your puberty and your like religious thing that's keeping you pure in your head, or like intertwining in a weird way, and you're just like, let's just pray a lot. Can we pray? What if we prayed with our mouths? Right? It's just so perfect and weird.
Sammy is at this point, he's changed his name to Sam. Everybody needs to call him Sam. Steven Spielberg was Stevie as a kid, Steve as a teenager and a young adult, and then eventually Steven. He's doing the same thing in the movie.
Mm-hmm. So this guy's going to become
He's going to become Samuel. Samuel
right. Sorry.
They move into their new house, and there's literally one scene of the parents moving into the house and pretending to be happy, and then they announce they're getting a divorce.
I love the sisters in this movie.
Yeah, I didn't really notice them the first time, but they're so good, especially the oldest one, who's playing his real life sister,
who becomes a director, right?
Screenwriter. She wrote Big. Yeah. She's very successful, and This has happened at the same time that he's filmed the Ditch Day footage for his high school. With Ditch Day, was this a thing?
Yes.
Anybody knows about Ditch Day?
Yeah.
I didn't know what this was.
You wouldn't have been invited.
Oh,
it was senior skip day at my school.
Yeah, it was a skip day.
And you have a party.
But it seems like it's sanctioned by the school.
It is. They let you skip.
That's like when the government says we've set up free speech zones. Like what?
No, they don't hassle you about it. They understand all the seniors are going to skip, so they just do it.
It's like in my school, at least, it was like an unspoken rule. Like you have to skip it's a rite of passage. The Ditch Day, and you don't say anything to anybody about it, and the teachers and principal just let you do it.
Exactly,
because it was like an unwritten rule almost.
It's a gift to the seniors. You're senior, you get to do this, and.
Right.
For some reason, you don't just go home, you spend it together. And that's what happened in my high school, too.
Well, then maybe my high school did have it, and right there is why I wouldn't have been involved in it.
You were just at home with your fucking Siskel and Ebert review of something.
The Incredibles on DVD. So there's the scene with Sammy and his sister as she's saying, like, you're just like her, you're so selfish. And he's like, shut up, I want to edit, but will you watch with me? Mm-hmm. Very sweet. Then it's the prom. He airs his footage. Well, first he tells his girlfriend, like, hey, I love you. Will you be my wife forever? And she's like, ew, no. But he's just doing that because his parents announced they're getting divorced. He's all emotional. They play his movie. It is a big hit. I think it's the most interesting scene in the movie with the bully. I mean, we already talked about it. The bully not understanding what he's watching, and even Sammy not really having the words. They're just dumb teenage boys who don't know how to talk or have emotions anyway.
But don't you think he is also realizing the power of editing something like this while he's feeling really emotional?
Yes.
You know, like he surprises himself, but because he had such a heavy heart, or was just, I don't know. I think it's just probably
important. He already knew he had the power because of editing that camping trip, but
he just had a more emotional story to tell. What came out the other end was something full of emotion, and it didn't have to.
He used the bully really in the movie as a hero, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's the lighter bully that he turned into a hero to turn him against the real bully, so they would be separate.
I don't think there's that much agency in it. I think that he doesn't know why he's doing it. And I think that's what the point of the John Ford scene is. You have to figure out why you're doing what you're doing.
Because you clearly can, and your emotions are going to seep into this movie. And you might have one goal for this movie, catch me if you can, but if you're very emotional while you're doing it, it's going to come out the other end different, which he thinks he's telling a cat and mouse story with Catch Me If You Can, but it's actually more heartbreaking than that, because he keeps letting in these things maybe he hasn't totally dealt with, which made the movie great, but it's not what he thought he was making, because he can't help but tell about himself. Right. He's selfish like his mom, but he's a good storyteller, so we don't care. I relate to this man.
Right. And like the bully confronts him. Why'd you make me look like that? And he like starts crying. And I love that. This scene is like, they're not speaking in like John Hughes dialogue. They speaking,
so easily could have.
Yes. They're like talking like real teenage adults. Boys. They're talking like teenage boys who don't have language for it's also the 60s, who don't have language for the complex emotions and hormones that they're feeling. And eventually he's like, just don't tell anyone I cried. And he's like, I never will. Unless I make a movie about it. Well, and that's this movie.
Because this jock knows exactly what he looks like, the privilege that he's got, the things that his parents expect of him, the things the school expects of him. Being popular isn't as fun as people think it is, because all you can do is fail at it. So he's already trying to live up to this image and feeling fully like an imposter. And then Steven goes and makes him look like a goddamn god. And he's like, now nobody's going to let me be normal.
Yeah.
And so now crying cannot exist. I need to now achieve something. I guess I need to be an Olympic athlete. Fuck. Thank you, Steven.
And like you said, like he knew already, or he suspected, like, I'm not that guy. I know I'm not that guy. And he just made it so clear.
Any popular guy like that knows that, unless they're a sociopath. People are in love with an idea that they think they know about your life, and your life isn't this way. And now everyone's going to really make it a further gap between everybody. Don't worry, you're a senior. You're leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
He comes home from prom. He has a nice little conversation with the mom. The mom
and prom
explains why, I'm doing this divorce. I mean, this is the 60s.
I'm going to do a divorce.
I'm going to do one of those divorces people are starting to do. And, in the next 10 years or so, divorce will become ubiquitous. But at this point, it's a very bold thing to do for like the mother of a family to split apart her family, to go do something that you could say is selfish, but she makes it clear, like, I have to do this so that I can be the best person for everybody.
Right.
I need to be my truest self so that I can be happy and be the mom that you deserve. And
so relatable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we have, it's now a year later. His dad has moved to LA. He's going to college in LA. He's not going to film school. He's doing what his dad wants him to do. But he goes to his dad's apartment, and he's like having a panic attack because he hates school and he thinks everything's going wrong. And then his dad gives him this letter. This studio wrote you a letter, son. Come work at our studio or whatever.
Because he's responding the way his mom did when she did the right thing. I need to move to California. That's the right thing. And the way she is sensitive and buys a monkey and is having crazy, depressive episodes. And now the son, when Spielberg tries to fit his square peg in a round hole, his body rebels against him.
Yeah. Yes, that's a great way to put it.
I know.
Well, shut up. It's not a good way to put it. Okay, there's basically just the ending of the movie, which is the best ending of any movie ever. He goes to the lot. He gets a letter from CBS, but he goes to the Universal lot. Was CBS on the Universal lot? Paul, do you know the answer to this?
Is he telling the future? Don't they own?
No, they're not. They're not.
Well, a lot of different studios NBC. Share the same lot. So, yeah, it could have been.
And he's meeting with Greg Grunberg, and he's like, "Oh, who you got to meet, kid, is the greatest director of American pictures ever." And he's like, "Huh?" So he goes to meet John Ford. Had you heard Spielberg tell this story before you saw this movie, Paul?
No.
So I've heard him tell it multiple times. There's videos of him telling it at different points over the years, and it changes kind of each time.
I remember. I don't know if I remember. I remember him saying that he met a director they talked to, but I don't remember him saying it was John Ford. So I don't know. Just might be just my memory.
The way he tells it is exactly what happens. I mean, a lot of the weird details, like John Ford marches into the office with lipstick kiss marks on his face, and then his assistant runs after him to wipe off his face.
Impropriety.
And then says, "You can go in there. You've got 5 minutes." Probably more like 1. And he goes in there. Well, before in like American film culture, people understood that directors were the ones who actually made the movies.
Oh, no wonder he was cranky.
But he was like one of the only ones where it was like, he seems to really do something though.
He has a style. He has a signature. Yeah.
Yes.
And an eye patch. The eye patch didn't fucking hurt.
But his attitude about himself was like, I just go there, I point the camera, I do the thing. I don't know.
He's Spielberg.
Well,
that's what he says about himself. No, George was doing it. I was just there to back him up.
He did it in a very crusty, old-fashioned way, which is like, I don't know, if I worked on an electrical line, I'd do the same thing. But he goes in, and this is the most intimidating man in the world, and he's played by David Lynch. And this is just unending delight that he's played by David Lynch, who's like a very John Ford character, although they look very similar.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. Then again, have you seen behind the scenes footage of how he reacts to people?
Well, I just meant in terms of his personality, or I see Lynch as like the consummate auteur and John Ford is like the ultimate studio man. Like, just shoot the story that's in front of you. But they do have similar energies. Anyway, he goes in. John Ford takes 10 minutes to light a cigar, and then he's like, "Oh, they say you want to be a picture maker, huh?" Why?
Where's your eye patch?
Why do you want to do that?
You have to look and sound like a pirate.
And he's like, "Well, I just love your movies." Shut up.
Fuck you.
What do you know about art? And he goes and he looks at the painting and he's like, tell me about it. And he's like, well, it's got some cowboys and they look to be having a fight. No.
What are you, Lincoln?
Yes. Gives him the lesson. The horizon, that's what it's about. If you know why the horizon being at the top or the bottom of the frame is interesting, maybe you can make a good movie. Get the fuck out of my office.
Right. And that's all he needed.
Spielberg tried, Lynch originally turned this down, so Steven Spielberg enlisted Laura Dern to go persuade him, and she did. And then the next shot is the last scene of the movie. He like steps out and into this artificial looking backlot, walks away down this alley, and suddenly the camera very awkwardly jerks up to make the horizon at the bottom of the frame.
It is hopeful. Just on the street right there, it looks pedestrian and literally, and it almost looks sad or like something menacing is going to happen, like he's going somewhere that we need to see. You pointed at the horizon, he's going somewhere we don't need to see because he's going to be okay.
It's also this movie about movies. It's now suddenly Spielberg. He never does this with his camera. Does something like that calls attention to it, like
break the fourth wall.
This is basically breaking the fourth wall. Like, you're watching a movie. I know it seems like it's my life, but it's still a movie. And he said his original idea was you would literally hear Spielberg yell "cut." But I like this much better.
Yeah, I like it much better too because you notice it, but not every single person would understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also set up and payoff.
Yes.
Right.
Talking about the horizon, and then you realize, well, wait a minute.
But what is the difference?
Whoop,
right.
Let's dip it up.
Like he literally, wait a minute, what's that scene I just shot? Oh, right. Shit.
Yeah.